Good evening, ladies and gents. This is your boy Ishmael from South Africa once again. Another day, another episode. Guys, this is going to be episode 12 of my story, and I'm just going to carry on where I left off. In the previous episode, I told you about my father asking me and my brother to go through our clothes that was given to us into the pit toilet. And in this episode, I'm going to tell you one day in the morning. I can't remember when exactly what day it was, but I think it was on a weekend because we were all at home. And I was sent to go buy the bread at the shops. There was a shop nearby. It was the only shop that we used to buy things from, like bread, tea bags, sugar, and stuff like that. So they sent me to go. My mother sent me to go buy bread. As I was there, I was not aware. It was just like maybe 7 minutes going and 7 minutes coming back. So in that 14 to 20 minutes that I was away, a fight arose, and my father was obviously doing what he was known for, was beating up my mom, and my mother ran out of the house, and then my father continued beating my mother outside the house with some people. It was just a few people drinking there. I think about three, because in the villages people start drinking very early in the morning. I think it was only three people that was drinking, elderly people. So it happened that when my father was kicking my mother lying on the ground, he dropped his gun. My brother was there. I was not there, So to show that this thing was too much intense, my brother, as young as he was, picked up that gun and he wanted to squeeze the trigger to shoot my father. I was not there. I heard from the people that were there, including my father. Because what happened is that when my brother tried to squeeze the trigger, I don't know whether the gun was not cocked or it was on safe mode whatsoever, but it didn't fire. And my father realized that my brother was about to shoot him. He turned his back and then he started beating up my younger brother. That was the very first time that I think my brother was beaten by him. Because like I said in the previous videos, I was the one that used to get the beatings, but not my brother. But that day, my brother got so much beatings for trying to squeeze the trigger, and it happened that my mother escaped like always, and then he took it out to my granny to continue beating up my granny, and my granny also ran away. I can't remember who actually came to try and solve this matter. And they needed elderly people to be there in order for this matter to be addressed. So I remember, because a few days down the line, maybe after 4 days or 5 days, both my granny and my mother came back to the house. And I was asked, because me and my cousin, we were starting to grow a little bit. They asked us to go to another village to call upon my father's grandmother. And it was far. There was no houses in between my mother's house and that granny's house. So it was the bush. I remember me and my cousin running, because we were supposed to run. We were told we have to bring back my granny, as soon as I can, because this matter needs to be attended as soon as possible. So we were running, me and my cousin, to go fetch my granny, my father's granny actually, who gave birth to my father's mother. We got there. As an elderly, she couldn't run like us. We had to walk back, right? And we walked back. We came back, and then as we arrived by that exact shop that I was sent previously to go buy bread, as we arrived, my father apparently saw me, his granny, which is my great grandmother, and my cousin entering that shop. My great grandmother, as we were coming back, she then asked to enter the shop and pay off her accounts, because at that particular shop, you could go in, as an adult, like it was done for the elderly, for the pensioners. They used to go get borrow maybe sugar, maybe mealie meal, maybe whatever they can for the amount that they can afford to pay back at the end of the month, right? So what would happen is that whenever they get the money, they will then have to go back and pay. They pay back in installments. So the great grandmother decided to then enter the shop to go pay off, a certain amount of the money that she was owing the shop. And as she was walking in, she then asked us to walk in with her because, we're walking with her. We're going back to my father with my great grandmother, of course. So we entered together into the shop. Just take note, guys. Me, my cousin, and my great grandmother, we both entered the shop. The moment we entered the shop, my father, like I said, is about 7 minutes walking distance from my house to the shop. My father could then see us from wherever he was at my home while we entered the shop, right? And because he couldn't wait anymore for us to come back so that the matter can be discussed, he then decided to come and follow us into the shop because he acted like we are doing it on purpose. Like he wanted to blame somebody and he wanted to blame me for such a thing. So he came straight to the shop. And guess what? I'm a youngster, or I was always the guy that didn't get the opportunity to go play freely with other kids, right? So now that I'm with my great grandmother and I'm feeling so much happy and I'm feeling so much flexible and I'm like, okay, I'm out and about and let me just enjoy, as the granny entered the shop to go pay off, she left us, me and my cousin, standing outside the shop. There was that gaming machine, the one with the small gear. I don't know if it's called Nintendo. I think it was called Nintendo. A lot of guys at my age used to go play that thing right? And then I never got a chance to go play. I didn't even have money to go play that thing. But now that I'm there and I'm getting the opportunity to then just watch other young kids play the thing, I was just enjoying, I was part and parcel of the crowd there, only to feel somebody scratching my back. And then when I turned, I saw somebody very tall. When I looked back, it was him following me to the shops because he saw me and my cousin walk in, right? Before I could even say a word, I received the biggest slap ever received. And the stoop was high. That game machine was on top of the stoop. He clapped me that I fell off to the ground. When I stood up, he was already standing by my side. My cousin ran already because I was the culprit. I was the person in charge. I was the person who was supposed to get the beatings, you know what I mean? So as I woke up and I asked, but why? He said, I sent you to go get your granny and you standing here watching this useless thing. I'm like, but the granny is inside the shop paying. She asked us to wait for her. And then he said, I was not supposed to actually have waited. I was supposed to come back home without the granny. And guess what, guys? Had I went home without the granny, I was going to get the most beating because I knew him. I knew that's how he behaves. That's how he responds to situations. And I had no choice except for just walking home. And then as I was walking home, I was trying to walk and run at the same time. He was walking behind me. The granny is walking behind him. And we like a convoy. My cousin is already by the gate there at home. So as I got home, the granny got home as well. And then he carried on beating me, and he said, "I'm not to be sent because when I'm sent to go do something, I do my my own things, And it was just too bad that I felt like what kind of a father do I have here?" And the matter was then discussed. I remember every single detail of that day because as the elders were talking, trying to find out the balance, between whatever that's happening. He was drawing some pigs, because earlier on he beat me up so badly. So now he's trying to reconcile with me, and he's teaching me how to draw a pig on a piece of paper. And I was not there, but I was supposed to be there because it is what is happening, and nobody's supposed to say no to what he says. So I was just learning how to draw the pig, and then the people were talking, and then he eventually apologized, and he said he's not gonna do this anymore, and guys, that didn't stop. That just carried on, and going forward, you will hear from on the next episode that I'm gonna bring up now, guys. I just have to cut this one here now. Don't want to make it too long. I'll see you on the next one, which is going to be episode 13, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you subscribe, share, and do everything possible. I really appreciate you watching.